On my first trip to Iwama, I had a few instructions on what to do when I got there and how to behave and other things, all to do with Aikido. What I hadn't thought about was just how hard the training physically was. It was August when I arrived, and I would be leaving in September and leaving with Taito Sensei to go off to Italy for a seminar and then on to England, where I'd invited him to teach a seminar. So, being like a new child with a new toy, I got to Iwama, and there was lots of students from all over Japan coming on a daily basis, and Sensei said he would teach 2 extra classes. So where there'd be one in the morning early and one in the evening, there would be 2 extra classes fitted in. So the heat and the humidity being extremely difficult to cope with, I'd got fit before I went, bought a bicycle, cycled, got myself extremely fit, lost 2 stone in weight, and I was ready for the challenge, or so I thought. Everything I'd done was for the fitness to be able to excel, because I was taking my 5th Dan Taijutsu test while being in Iwama. What I didn't know was he was also going to test me in the first week for my 4th Dan Bukiwaza. And in the 3rd week I was there, he tested me for my 5th Dan and final Bukiwaza, Moku Roku Scrolls, known as. So everything I'd done and prepared was for stamina, for physical training while in the dojo. While I was there was a celebration where his son Hitohiro Sensei had carved a wonderful wooden head. I don't know what it was. It was, I'll call it a dragon, because attached to the head they have this massive length of cloth, coloured cloth, and people go under the cloth so that they move the cloth as if the dragon is going along the road. At the same time, people are behind a cart on these large, small, lorry-type wheels. And this cart is brought out for festive gatherings. And in this particular case, Hitohiro Sensei sat in there. And we set off at midday, and he would play these drums while the Uchideshi from around the world, all the different countries, we would be pushing this cart all over the Iwama village, stopping at various places, and going to people's houses where we would do a dance with the dragon outside of their house, and people would come out and view this. Little did I know that it was my turn to get under the dragon's head, and it was very heavy, but you have a wooden round bar inside this head where you can hold it and you turn it and curve and go up and down and dip and do all the ritual things that you do. All I remember is being completely out of character, and the sound of the beating drum, the heat of the day, and I was moving, and we come to this house, and of course you're too busy to look to see who's there, you're just doing your best. And this dance is almost like being in a trance state. There's trance by some people sit and do trance, others sit in trance, talk to spirits on the other side, we'll say, of life, who have passed on. There's trance where you allow your spirit guide to use your voice box, and they speak to those in front of them and tell them certain things. They may answer questions, or they may just give words of wisdom to those who are prepared to listen. Some go into trance by dancing the whirling dervishes. I don't know what country they're from, but they dance in spinning, in small groups, spinning and spinning until they become in trance. So there's various ways of being in trance, but my experience at this moment in time, under the dragon's head, I was tired, I was exhausted with all the training, the heat, midday setting off, and it didn't end until after 9. I believe it was about 9:30 at night. Tremendous heat, humidity, and pushing a solid wooden cart that was more like a massive cage where Hiro Sensei was playing these drums. So he had a task as well all day for the next 9 hours with very little stops. We didn't have time for stops apart from taking over who would be in the dragon's head. My famous part for me, and to polish my ego, was after my time in the dragon's head, one of the Japanese said when I swapped over and went to the back of the cart to push again, that it was Saito Sensei's wife and her neighbour's house that I'd done the dance. Now I've never ever done this dance or even understood it before, apart from seeing on television the Chinese do the dragon dance. So I can only say that I must have been in a trance state at this point. She commented it was the best dragon dance she'd seen. Now we weren't the only cart and dragon. There was many of them. I don't know how many. At the end of the evening, we all gathered in the centre of Iwama. And it's like a small town now more than a village, but they call it a village. And they all formed a circle, a little bit like some countries would have perhaps gypsy caravans all gathering in where the horses would slowly pull the caravans into like a horseshoe circle. And there was all these other carts, and we all linked up at this one point. Until then, I had no idea that there was others out there. I thought there was just ourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed this story, and I hope also while I'm telling them and just letting you focus on the showman, O-sensei and the other objects within the frame, that perhaps I can transmit these pictures to you as I speak, and therefore you'll be in a trance state. It's not such a hard thing to do, and we do it without thinking. We often become in we could call it daydreaming state. Your occupied mind, so you're watching and listening as somebody's talking, but your mind is elsewhere. So I hope you've enjoyed this story, and I'd like you to, if you play it again, to place your own colours on the dragon's head, the wooden carving, this large wooden dragon's head. They look quite scary. And perhaps with your eyes closed, you can imagine how you would dance and dip and free yourself from all your normal inhibitions that you may have and hang-ups, trying to do the correct thing, to conform. I shall carry on with this series of talking because in hopes that some of you will enjoy the other side, the deeper side, to understanding that O-sensei found and followed. And I didn't know this at the time, but as the years have gone by, I realised that physical timing and physical seeing is not enough to develop true Takemusu Aiki. You have to be sensitive enough to feel the person before they arrive, to know what they are sensing themselves as they sense it, to go and meet them and meet their energy, their aura. Does it have fear? Does it have positivity? If you know the answer in advance, you can blend and balance whatever they have, and then you and them become one. Therefore, they can never harm you because you are them, you become them. The same as dancing with the dragon's head, never danced before, but to find a rhythm that is not you, but the rhythm that is required at the time. Thank you for listening.